Hi, and welcome to another episode of Hot Takes with me, the Silver Fox. And as we all know, the police are not your friends. This one, another Scotland Yard, another Metropolitan Police officer, ties and gags his housemate, a woman, because he thought it was funny. No, it really isn't funny. But thankfully, he's lost his job. That's one. There are thousands yet to come. But let's look at this story. Now, as we know, Mark Rowley, the chief of the Metropolitan Police, has said that given recent sort of high-profile cases involving R and M of women by serving police officers, his investigations have shown there's at least 1,000 officers that need to be investigated or are currently being investigated. And that's just in the Metropolitan Police alone. That's one force out of the many, many forces all across the country. The problem with the police is endemic. It needs to be rooted out. But here today we have yet another, I'm sorry to say, story about a policeman who has done terrible things to a woman because he thinks he can. It's that surety, I suppose, in their actions. They feel they can get away with everything, including M and R, as can be seen. But it's not acceptable. But we'll look at this. So, who are you going to tell? I'm the police. A Scotland Yard officer who bound and gagged his female housemate with duct tape because he thought it was funny is sacked. Good. That's one. Like I say, there's many, many more to come. PC Grigg was dismissed from the Met Police after the incident on December the 2nd last year. Grigg was guilty of false imprisonment and assault, occasioning actual bodily harm. So he physically harmed this woman, tied her up, gagged her, and then claimed it was a joke. No, it's not a joke. It's very poor behaviour. It's behaviour that is indicative of other behaviours. It's anyone who does this and thinks it's funny seriously has problems. It's the entry, if you like. That is someone who, if not checked, will end up R-ing and M-ing women. A Met Police officer who used duct tape to restrain his female housemate then said, "Who are you going to tell? I'm the police," has been sacked. PC Sam Grigg, 36, tied up Natasha Rabinovitz by taping her wrists together behind her back, taping her ankles together and gagging her mouth in the kitchen of their shared home in Twickenham, southwest London, on December the 2nd last year. He told the victim in her 20s he was doing it because it's funny. Yeah, it really, really isn't. Having left her restrained for a period of time, he cut her free using a knife, cutting her in the process. And Grigg, who was attached to the Southwest Basic Command Unit, pleaded guilty to false imprisonment and assault, occasional actual bodily harm, when he appeared via video link at Kingston Crown Court earlier this month. And Scotland Yard said that an accelerated misconduct hearing at Westminster Magistrates Court on Monday found Grigg breached the standards of professional behaviour in respect of discreditable conduct, and he's been dismissed without notice. Now that's fine, losing his job. That's excellent that he's lost his job. But we do now need to see what he's going to get, which probably hasn't been announced yet. I'll go into. I really haven't read this beforehand. This is the live. This is why it's a hot take, I suppose. But I suspect that sentencing will be later. During the hearing, John Howie, defending, said Mr. Grigg accepts that he tied up the complainant. He takes no issue with anything she says. The Met said Mrs. Rabinovitz suffered minor injuries, but did not require hospital treatment. That is only on the physical level. From a sort of emotional level, that can be quite a traumatising experience. To do that to another human being is completely wrong. You're dehumanising people. But what do you expect from the current sort of police forces we have? They try to dehumanise because if they were to treat people like human beings, they really, really couldn't do the things they do. They have to turn people into ciphers in order to do this. It's the same sort of thing that you saw in 30s in Germany. The things they did to people then, they stopped referring to them as people. They became numbers. They became ciphers. They became nothing. Because human beings would have a great difficulty in doing this kind of behaviour. So that is why this is like a very worrying trait that this man needs to be, for the rest of his life, this man needs to be watched. Judge Georgina Kent ordered a pre-sentence report. There we go. So he hasn't been sentenced yet, and adjourned the sentencing until February the 10th, nearly 2 weeks away. So I suspect he probably won't go to jail. They don't like jailing policemen, even though he technically did it with a blade. But you know, they don't like putting it's almost as though the judiciary and the police forces and that are hand in hand. You know, they don't want one to overly do the other one in case there's a bit of feedback later. So it's a bit of a corrupt system, really. But anyway, I do hope it does go down. I'd like him to see probably 6 months. It'd probably be fitting for it, but a good 6 months would be right. But yeah, you cannot have policemen tying up women, laughing about it, and then thinking that this is normal and acceptable, because as I say, that just dehumanises and enciphers human beings, and the police then can do what they like if they've removed that link between them and actual people. Anyway, I shall round off and come up. So here we go again, another round of policemen doing terrible, awful things. Will it ever stop? No, not while we have the current system. We are basically taking thugs and putting them in a uniform and making them untouchable. And if we are hearing all these stories about the ones that are being caught, the ones that are being found out, it makes you wonder how much is going on underneath the surface that's not talked about, that's not mentioned, that's actively hidden. Because you can guarantee it's a lot more than what we do hear about. Anyway, we deserve this police force because we won't do anything to change it. And we should. We should be out there demanding change and demanding that we, the public, are the ones that are protected from the police. Anyway, I shall stop there. Thank you very much for listening. If you like what you see and hear on the channel, please do hit that subscribe button if you haven't already. Ring the bell for notification of future output. Leave a like, leave a comment, please. Please share the video. We're getting a bit of a run now, and it'd be nice just to get out and try and get up to say 2,500 subscribers. That's achievable, I think, short term. So hit those buttons. Anyway, until next time, stay safe, stay well. Don't get tied up by policemen, no matter how enticing they are. And goodbye.